and we've heard it time and time again, the frightening phrase we hear all the time is, I was unknowingly underinsured. I went to make a claim and all hell broke loose. And it's everybody points fingers at each other.
Anthony, when we last met, you were at Collinson. And now you've got a big job, which is to be the head of GB Affinity at WTW. Why did you jump ship?
I think it was a long journey, Paul. So several months. I was invited with...
That's Paul. I'm Robin.
That's Robin.
Yeah. I'm Anthony. With many others, I was just invited to join the journey in terms of thinking about, how to start an affinity practice again within WTW. I think the attraction for me moving forward was looking at the brand, the people, and during the journey, the opportunity, the commitment within WTW to re-establish an affinity practice in the UK. And then having the opportunity to look at what had been done elsewhere. So many other markets where WTW is driving over 250 different affinity programs for many different organizations in different industry verticals, and helping those organizations support those customers, and in turn generating over sort of 2 billion or so in gross written premium for the insurers that support those programs. So the blank canvas, also an attraction, but also the learning. The learning, and obviously a lot of that has been with Paul over the last few months about what Kayna's capability is and how integrating that with our own proprietary technology in WTW, how we can deliver one of our target operating models, which we'll come on to.
So but let's go back a step, because affinity business, especially sort of SME affinity, is a massive opportunity. You've got a lot of affinity customers, but what are the issues that you face in dealing with that many people, that nature of business that you are seeking to address?
So I think what I would say, I'm fortunate to work within the sort of UK and European affinity market for 25 years now. I think the challenges are more now, many of you won't remember, but it was all predicated on financial promotions and actually, advertising to an affinity group of members or customers an insurance protection product that might suit their needs. And obviously with regulation, with being proactive about making sure that your insurance protection is meeting those needs now. It's more about the challenge of addressing the customer's needs at the right time with the right product, and how do you get there? And that's more about where is the data that is available and that can be used, and how do you access that? So I think there are a number of organisations that operate in the UK market within the world of affinity, and they do what they do very well. That said, there are organisations, many of which are insurtechs, some are insurers, and we're fortunate at WTW to build a business that's supporting an overarching ecosystem. And we will have a role in that, and that role should depend only on what a client's needs are first, and identifying those needs and building an ecosystem around it, agnostically.
Did you know all about this when you set up Kayna, or did you set up Kayna? So what came first? Did you go, that is a real issue, I'm going to go solve it? Not for WTW, but sort of generically, or did you build something and you go, that's a good place to go sell it?
The chicken or the egg. So with myself and Peter, our last business, Blink, we were very big in personal lines, flight disruption. COVID happened, no flights anymore, so we built a small business parametric product that was our entree into that, and we were surprised at how poor small business insurance was. Big protection gap, lots of underinsurance, et cetera, and we thought that's a problem to be solved. So we were lucky that we had some experience in our last business. And then we looked at, is there a place that we can find this data, as Anthony mentioned? And there was, and it wasn't being used for insurance. And that was the start of our business. So we had a little insight, and away we went.
Now, when you and I were talking, you kept using the word the SaaS or vertical SaaS. And I pretended to know all about it, and then I had to go and look it up afterwards. We can't go much further without you talking about vertical SaaS.
Yeah, that's the $64,000 question. So small businesses 5-6 years ago would use a whole bunch of different software platforms to run their business, one for marketing, finance, inventory management, HR. That's the way of the dodo. It's being replaced by very narrow software platforms that are built just for restaurants, just for lawyers, just for dentists, and it goes on and on and on and on. This isn't happening, it's here. Most sectors, 70% are using these types of software platforms. Toast, if you want to look it up, in the States of 100,000 restaurants, Archie in dental, Clio in legal, etc., etc. It's absolutely massive, big community, loads of interesting data. They're all making way more money out of embedded fintech today than they're making out of selling software. They all want to do embedded insurance, and there's a big reason why they couldn't, and that's why we created Kayna, and that's why we partnered with Willis Towers Watson.
That's basically one platform that's got their website, their accounting capability, their ability to communicate with customers, everything in one big,
Yep.
And then your role as Kayna is to sit between vertical SaaS platforms and providers like WTW. I'm always demean businesses like that and call them plumbing, but you know what I mean. So what does that involve? What are you giving to whom and when and why?
Sure, I think it's we merge ourselves with our insurance partners to completely change the insurance experience for that small business. Make it super simple for that software platform. They're very busy. Give me a widget, 24 hours, I'm up and running. But then you're getting access, working with our insurance partners like WTW, and we've brought together an end-to-end solution. So Kayna does quite a lot at the front end. That's our real speciality, and managing the data and making sure our real job is to bring that data in real time into the insurance ecosystem, and the guys have pretty much everything else set up. So yeah, we're an enabling technology solution for insurers and brokers. What we find as well is vertical SaaS platforms, they don't want to deal with the new kids on the block. They want safety. They love their customers. They want people who paid out claims in the restaurant business or the dental business for decades. They want a really simple technical solution at the front end. Nobody ever knows about Kayna. We're Intel inside. They know Willis Towers Watson. They know the carriers that Anthony brings to the table, and that's the solution they want. They want the safety that claims we made and their customers we looked after.
You make it sound more and more like plumbing every time you talk about it. You also make it sound very easy, and I know it's not. Anthony, with this, what can you do that you couldn't do before? I mean, you've been in Affinity for a long time, but suddenly that's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's less about what we can do, but addressing what it means for an SME, right? So an SME is often a business that probably is in its fledgling period. It's often a one-man band at the start. It's someone that knows what they want to do, whether that's opening a barber's shop, being a trade, or whatever that is. They don't have a playbook in terms of insurance. It's quite a stressful event in terms of knowing that a potential client has asked if they've got the right insurance cover, what limits of indemnity they need, what types of liability, actually even knowing that when they take on their first employee halfway through a policy year, oops, where's the employer's liability cover, and who's reminding them that that needs to be done? And they're time poor. So I think for the opportunities actually making life easier without advice for an SME, right? If you get that right, everything else is a winner. You win. But in terms of examples, if you think about, in my old world working for RAC or working for an insurer with a home emergency network, you've got thousands of recovery agents on the road. You've got thousands of trades that are going to come out to your houses within 24 hours and repair the leak or the issue with the lock. They all have to attest, and they're mandated to be part of these networks, these agent networks, by demonstrating that they've got sufficient insurance, because ultimately it's a major home insurer or motor insurer that's allowing them to serve ultimately the customers through a loss adjuster or through a claims administrator. Someone's got to manage that network. that is relatively painful. That's thousands of SMEs on a network that need to be checked every year. But that process is now streamlined. And not just that, but actually, rather than saying, no, SME, you don't have the insurance, or an SME struggling, and dare I say, SMEs also cancelling insurance after the point of attestment, we can support both parties to make sure that the cover is adequate and offer insurance at the right time, rather than switching off that contractor from being able to trade and support that network. We can offer the insurance through that SaaS that delivers that network management process. So there's an example.
And that's as much about anything as about sort of automated compliance and accreditation that just happens behind the scenes that no one else needs to worry about because the tech sort of enables it. I know you well enough, Paul. You're not going to stop there. What other opportunities does this sort of tech and the whole new world of vertical SaaS offer, firstly to Kayna as a business?
Yeah, I think there's two phases really of the business. The first is, getting the right insurance partnership in place. That's done with the friends at WTW. The next is getting lots of vertical SaaS up and running, using that data and bringing that data into the underwriting community. So most underwriters we talked in the SMB space, they're kind of living in a data dark room. So they want data they can trust. They'll get access to data from effectively the operating system of the business. So once you've got data you can trust, you completely change your risk models. You can segment your business in a completely different way and price the business properly in real time. And the overall objective is managing the book of business. There's some really interesting angles around artificial intelligence, et cetera, that everybody is talking about. So yeah, I think it's, at the end of the day, what you really want is for that small business to never have to worry about insurance. They sign up and we look after their business from an insurance point of view automatically, so they never have to, and we've heard it time and time again, the frightening phrase we hear all the time is, I was unknowingly underinsured. I went to make a claim and all hell broke loose. And it's everybody points fingers at each other. The broker doesn't have enough time to understand every restaurant in London really, really well, but the vertical SaaS platforms have all this information in real time. So that's the long-term goal, what we're trying to achieve.
Anyone wants to know about all the best restaurants in London, they're going to come and talk to them.
Or wine bars.
Yeah, exactly. I completely lost my train of thought. I was trying to think where I was going to eat. When I hear you talking there, I think to myself, when you talk about we, is there a disintermediation play there? I mean, you've got the tech, you've got the ability, you got access to vertical SaaS. What's your thinking on that? Yeah,
so look, back in when I was starting first insurtech with Peter back in 2016, everybody said, let's get rid of the whole insurance community, we'll go direct. And lots of grey hair, lots of people have gone by the wayside. People like working with brokers, and the reason is you want to be able to cover all your customers, not just insurance company one. And insurance company one might decide to change their risk appetite in year 2. That's the beauty. That's why the broker channel is perfect for vertical SaaS. It would take us multiple lifetimes to know a small percentage of what Willis Tower Watson know about one line of business. Why would we do that? We like staying in our swim lane, so we're very, very happy there. It's a huge problem to solve. If we can do that, we'll be very happy.
It's one of those traps that people from outside the industry fall into, but those who've been in the industry long enough never fall into it. Anthony, what have you got planned for 2025? You've got all this new kit. What will you do with it? And anything, and generally, sort of more generally, what's 2025 hold?
Well, I'm not going to give away some of the other really exciting stuff that we've got planned for next year, but the more Paul and his team and ours focus on some of these key verticals that we're targeting right now and some of the exciting conversations we're having there, the better, because we want to get our first programs up and running. I think we've got one penned for the end of the year, and then more to follow in 2025. I think for me, it's then actually working out and thinking, sort of where else using this partnership, and the data orchestration that comes with it, can we harness that within WTW? We've got, we're very fortunate to have many really valued clients across the business. So how can we help those clients in other ways? utilising the partnership that we've got with Kayna.
You going to stick to the UK for now? Has it got
Absolutely,
beyond?
for me, yeah,
I
that's
thought
more
so.
than enough.
Funnily enough, it's in the job title, yeah. Although, on my notes, it says you're from you're GP Infinity, which, I don't know, that's another job
impressive.
altogether, that.
Yeah, well, it sounds impressive. Infinity is probably a little bit too much to handle right now.
Paul, last word for you. What's one you would last thought to leave the audience with?
Well, we're working very hard in the UK. We're also going live in USA with our first program, so we're very active over and back to the USA, working primarily with Willis Towers Watson. The US is a big market for us as well. Vertical SaaS is a couple of years ahead, so lots of learnings that we're bringing back to the UK. So very exciting 2025.
It's a great story. We've talked endlessly about embedded. We wrote learned reports about it 2 or 3 years ago. Well, I'm not saying it's sort of underwhelmed a little bit, and it feels like this is truly what embedded was built for, and it's a very good story all round. Thank you both very much.
Thanks,
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.